It's day 14 in the heart of the Amazon jungle and our situation is escalating. After successfully mapping the uncharted source of the Copenhagen River, we travelled downstream, changed course, and now we're pushing upstream into some of the most remote terrain in South America, pursuing a mountain that few humans have ever set foot on. Taffelberg, Suriname's mysterious Table Mountain, is a peak described by the rare few who have reached it as one of the most beautiful, untouched locations in South America. But reaching it won't be easy. We're low on energy, our bodies fatigued, and many of us are in excruciating pain after surviving 2 relentless weeks in the jungle. Can we reach the summit of one of the most secluded places left on Earth? Let's find out. So the lads have gone off. We've got the rapids here that we met last night. We camped here. The lads have gone off to see what's on the other side of the rapids. They're not that big. I thought maybe they'd be gone tops an hour. It's almost been 3 hours. We hope they're okay. I'm hoping that they come back with good news, that maybe we can just ditch everything here, continue hiking. They know the way and it's pretty direct. But you know, the hours keep going by. Maybe there's an uncontacted tribe. Jeez, you know, if it comes to the worst, me and Jacob are talking different scenarios, how we need to play this if there is some sort of emergency. Still camped where we left off the day before, Jacob and I waited anxiously for Dick and Matt to return from scouting the terrain ahead. We deflated our kayaks and packed our gear, ready to move at a moment's notice, whether that meant portaging through the jungle to bypass the rapids, or leaving the river behind entirely and beginning the long hike towards Table Mountain. But hours passed and we were starting to get worried.
So we're currently making the trail towards a possible portaging spot.
It's long, really long.
We're trying to follow this ridge because every time we go down we end up at the Boulder Valley again. So we still don't know if we're gonna use this trail to portage our stuff or actually just go from here towards the mountain.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dilemma. Bottom line is energy is low, so I think we just gotta make our way to the creek first and then we can make a decision based on how the river's looking.
If it's shallow, too shallow to paddle, then we use this trail and continue it to towards the mountain. If it's good enough to paddle, we portage our stuff and then we paddle up.
With Dick and Matt scouting ahead, we were relieved when they finally emerged from the jungle and made it back to camp.
Hey, what happened?
We took a bit of a long detour as well, trying to find the best way.
Have we got bad news? We got
No, it's good news. I mean, where we reached, the river looked great.
Yeah.
Skipped the boulders, skipped
Yeah.
the next 2 rapids. Looks long, deep and slow, but we have about 600 meters of portaging.
we felt the kayaks heavy, like with the extra water now. Although we tried to get rid of the water, but heavy.
But I think portaging is the way.
Yeah.
As much as I don't want to do it, I think after we do it and we're back on the river, I'll be like, thank God we were kayaking.
After discussing the smartest strategy for reaching Table Mountain, we made the difficult decision to portage all of our heavy gear through the jungle, one grueling trip at a time.
We're just navigating using little marks on the trees to highlight the path that's been created. But I tell you what, it's very hard. My navigation is on point, especially being a scuba diver. It's hardest to navigate underwater, but this is proving a challenge.
It was physically exhausting, but we took an educated gamble that the river would eventually become suitable to paddle once again. If we were right, we could travel far more efficiently on the water than by hacking our way through dense bush, where even a full day's effort barely moved us forward.
Made it. Now gotta set up the kayaks again and get going with the creek. Looks very paddleable. How you feeling, Matt?
Dead. The second round was so much harder than the first because the kayaks, they have only shoulder straps. And it felt like mine were different lengths because the kayak was like moving like that on my back and I didn't know what to do with the barrel. I was alternating with it being on my shoulder and then like hugging it and then one hand. I was just stumbling my way to the finish. It took me like over an hour. I'm just trying to recuperate a little bit before we get going in the kayaks. But I'm glad it's over.
With Dick, Matt and Jacob successfully making it around the rapids and back onto the river, they began reinflating the kayaks, preparing to push upstream once again.
But as time passed, their relief turned to worry as I had one more round of kit to collect.
It's been a long day today. Total distance is about 600 metres in 7.5 hours. Just waiting for Ash now. He's gone to get his final few bits. He's been gone about an hour and a half so far, so hopefully he'll be back pretty soon. Otherwise he's got lost, and it's easy to get lost in that jungle.
This is my third trip, which would have accumulated up to 5-6 kilometres just to get over some 200-metre rapids. We've gone up the mountains. It's humid, it's hot, sweaty, sticky. My shoulders are feeling it because the kit is so heavy. Well, I was kind of half debating whether we should just ditch them, create base camp early and hike. It's just the jungle, man, it's so impenetrable. We could do half a kilometre a day, whereas the river, at least it gives us sometimes a bit of a flow, you know? Oh God. After a long, exhausting few hours moving back and forth through the dense jungle with all the heavy gear, we finally had all the kit together on the other side of the rapids. But the hard work wasn't over. Determined to keep pushing forward, we got back into our kayaks and headed upstream for several more hours before finally stopping to make camp.
How was today, Ash?
Today was tough. It was more demoralising than anything. That uncertainty of whether to hike or portage the kayaks. And so we decided to portage the kayaks, and we're hoping that tomorrow it pays off. Otherwise that is a whole day of covering 1 kilometre back and forth 3 times. So it was pretty brutal going back and forth with the kayaks, and I'm just hoping it wasn't unnecessary, but we don't know until tomorrow. Tomorrow we either meet some big rapids and it stops us in our track, in which case if we then portage we've got double the amount to do, or if we hike then we've never needed to portage on the first one, or we get over these small rapids and it's plain sailing with very few rapids, and if it's plain sailing with very few rapids then it will be worth it. So we have to see, but it's difficult day. Just hoping for a nice day, but sometimes they're hard to come by.
So we're making good progress today. Done about 3 kilometres. It's 8:50. Left early. Woke up at 5:30 this morning. We are being faced by lots of different small rapids, but same old story with my feet. They're just in absolute pain. So painful. Each step is like now 100 pins stabbing into my feet, or like stepping on hot coal. That burning sensation. That's what it feels like. So luckily I'm in the kayak right now, but every time I have to get out, which is fucking every 50 meters, every 100 meters, you know, each step is just fire.
So yesterday we passed the boulder wall and then we camped just below what we thought would be one of the last rapids as we continue towards Table Mountain. We actually had several smaller ones beyond that, but now we've reached the flats and it's super beautiful. And we're hoping for this to continue as long as possible, but we will get there when we get there. The reward will be worth it.
We had pushed through several sets of rapids and finally our gamble was paying off. The river opened up, allowing us to cover ground at a steady pace as we drew closer to the stunning mountain of Taffelberg. But after a few more kilometres, we encountered a new stretch of river that forced us to pause and reconsider.
This is potentially where we start to walk. And what we're gonna discuss was, would you like to go immediately today? Which means we would be on Table Mountain, most likely tomorrow.
We go today.
Yeah,
we get
to
and we start the climb in the morning.
Yeah, and the forest looks pretty flat, pretty doable.
I think that's the right call for that.
Yeah.
We decided it was time to pack up our gear and begin the inevitably difficult climb into the jungle. Tensions were rising, the challenges were pushing us to our limits, and we all had to rely on each other more than ever to keep moving forward.
We have just arrived in camp number 16. The track was a little bit challenging in the beginning. Luckily, the forest after that opened up. Tomorrow's gonna be a hell of a day, but the reward's gonna be amazing. We're finally gonna be on Table Mountain. Lisa, we stored some food. Currently, just fucking dead. We're having a little trouble. Ash's feet are coming up again. Jacob had a muscle in his arm that got Double picking up his bag. Matt got an infection on his wrist, so everything is hanging up to me now. Hopefully I won't get anything. Gotta do our best. Hopefully we'll be there tomorrow. Oh, that's the worst thing I've ever had.
Matt has just been stung by the most venomous. Wow! Look at that!